Hello, my name is Mary Fowler, and today I'm going to discuss behaviorist Fred S. Keller as part of my behavior biography project. Fred S. Keller was born January 2nd, 1899, and died February 2nd, 1996. He was a professor, author, and researcher. He was most active between the years of 1931 and about 1964. Here's a list of articles and resources that I use for my project. The first 5 are resources written by Keller. The next one is an obituary, and the last and final one is a bibliography. In the first source, it tells us it's actually his textbook that he published with William Schofield. And in one of our lectures, our professor actually mentioned that this textbook was considered the first ABA textbook. The second resource was an article written by Keller and published in Teaching of Psychology. This article discussed Keller's work with PSI over the past 10 years. PSI is a personal system of instruction, which is an educational system designed to maximize student learning. Keller first implemented PSI in 1964 in an analysis of behavior lab class. The third resource was an article written by Keller that goes more in depth about his use of PSI in developing the Keller Plan. The Keller Plan is a self-paced method that focuses on student mastery in order for students to progress in the course. The fourth source is a peer review of an article written by Patricia Cross. Cross's article expresses concerns that students are being accepted into colleges and universities that don't meet the qualifications of previous applicants were held to. Keller suggests the use of individualized instruction and three-dimensional curriculum to support student success. A three-dimensional curriculum is comprised of transferable concepts, topics, and skills and processes. In the fifth source, Keller discusses an error in publication regarding Morse code. Morse code is created based on a visual code, not auditory code. He then points out that the creator, Sam Morse, reaction that one could read by sound just as by written communication. This supports Keller's efforts in stimulus discrimination training. This is a strategy used to teach an individual to engage in specific behavior in the presence of certain situations, events, or stimuli. The sixth is just the obituary outlining specifics of his life, and the seventh source is a biography of his life. Both sources were used to help create a timeline. As a professor at Columbia University, Keller, with the help of William Schoenfeld, introduced a laboratory course which covered an introduction into psychology. Later, he and Schoenfeld published Principles of Psychology, which was intended to be a textbook for this course. Their book primarily focused on Skinner's reinforcement theory. Reinforcement theory is a form of operant conditioning that focuses on environmental factors that contribute to the shaping of behavior. Their book primarily focused on Skinner's reinforcement theory, and during the laboratory course, undergraduates were to learn the principles of reinforcement through their work with their white rats. So in that case, their subjects were the white rats. Other populations that he worked with, when he did the personalized system of instruction, or PSI, the Keller Plan. This plan was actually developed through his work at various universities. The Keller Plan is a plan based on reinforcement theory as a method of pedagogy. The Keller Plan is a self-paced method of instruction that focuses on student mastery of specific course objectives utilizing reinforcement theory. The Keller Plan is also made up of 5 distinguishing features. These include the go at your own pace, the unit perfection requirements, view of lectures and demonstrations as motivators, focus on teacher-student communication, and the use of proctors. During the Keller Plan, the subjects were actually the graduate students. Keller's major contributions to behavior analysis include his work with B.F. Skinner's reinforcement theory, specifically his work with personalized system for instruction, or PSI. The example that we talked about earlier was the Keller Plan. Also, his work with principles of psychology, which he published in 1950. As we learned earlier in our course, it was also known as the first ABA textbook. In this textbook, he states the term drive states, which we currently refer to as establishing operations. Establishing operations are motivating operations that will increase the value of a reinforcer and make it more likely that the behavior will happen in the future. Examples of this would include food, if you withhold food and make sure that the child hasn't had the food, and that makes it more valuable. An activity that the child really enjoys doing, making sure that the child didn't just complete the activity, therefore it's more valuable. And tangible items such as toys can be used as well. If I were to interview Keller, these would be the questions that I would ask. Number 1, how exactly did you meet and develop a strong relationship with B.F. Skinner? Number 2, while creating and implementing the Keller Plan, what did you notice to be absolutely essential in the organization and preparation before implementation? 3, while implementing Personalized System of Instruction, or PSI, like the Keller Plan, what setbacks did you encounter? How did you handle them? 4, throughout your time as a professor, what obstacles did you face in regards to how you chose to approach instruction? And number 5, what principles of applied behavior analysis did you find difficult to implement when developing the code voice training method for Morse code operators? Additional implications for his work would include his application of immediate reinforcement, which helped create the voice code method used to train Morse code operators. His use of PSI and the Keller Plan inspired a group of former students to open the Fred S. Keller School in New York, which is still active today. That's all I have for you guys today. Enjoy.